Flyweight bout between Muhammed Mokaev, minus 688 for Mokaev, plus 688 for Jafel Filho. Over under 2.5 rounds, plus 133 for the over, minus 133 for the under. The undefeated Muhammad Mokaev making his third fight in London at the O2 in the past year. So he's going to be a familiar face there. Who do you like in this one? You giving the dog a chance at all?
I really want to. I'm going to come out and say it, and people might not like it. I think Muhammad Mokaev as a mixed martial artist is a tad overrated and is a lot of hype. I'm not saying he's a overrated, grappler or wrestler, because obviously, he's really good and he's fun, in that department. But
Hater.
I am a hater. I'm not a big Mokaev fan.
Those are the comments. Those are the comments coming at you. Hater.
Oh yeah,
hater.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, like against Malcolm Gordon, a guy who's been, submitted a handful of times, knocked out a handful of times, and I know he found that armbar late, but he was kind of slowing down, and Gordon was kind of having his moments as that fight went on. I know Gordon's kind of an aggressive fighter, and it's kind of all or nothing with him, and he's on this card as well. But if Mokaev, I think Mokaev beats a lot of lower level and mid level strikers just by using that grappling. But the guy he's fighting in Jafel Filho, he, if I believe, okay, it wasn't Contender Series. The fight before that, he won by arm triangle. He gets a lot of chokes, rear naked chokes. He has a handful of TKO and knockout victories as well. And he is 14-2. So it's not like he's Mokaev's fighting another guy that's, inexperienced or doesn't have a lot of fights on his record. This guy's been fighting a while. And I just love that finishing rate, man. He's got 14 wins and he's got 13 of them by finish. 8 submissions, 5 knockouts. So Mokaev is going to be wanting to take this to the ground and grapple, but you're going to be doing that against a guy with 8 submission wins on his record. So I think this fight could be a lot closer than the odds are indicating. I do think Mokaev, probably wins, but I see a world where this hype train kind of comes to a halt here, especially with the rumor, and not even a rumor because Mokaev has come out to say it. He almost rescheduled or pulled out of this fight because he thought he was going to have shoulder surgery. Ended up being something that he could just get rehab and would be ready to go. So that kind of makes me nervous as well. A grappler with a shoulder injury, it's not exactly what you want to hear going into a fight as a minus 800, minus 900 favorite. So that's interesting stuff as well. I don't know, man. One of these fights, I think Mokaev's hype train is going to come to an end. I don't think he's a guy that just makes this huge run in the UFC and goes all the way to the title. So, Mokaev probably wins. Not going to be surprised if you see Jafel Filho get this one done either.
I'm going to agree with you. I don't think you can ever touch minus 688 on Mokaev until he really proves, like, the thing that I don't like about Mokaev is he thinks he's kind of invincible and he can't lose, which is hard to really snap out of him until he loses. Like, he hasn't really lost much in his career. I think he's undefeated as an amateur as well. And he's like never lost a wrestling match or anything. So he just doesn't think he can lose. And one of these times he's going to go out there not thinking he can lose, and he's going to lose. He's going to get finished. We saw it in his last fight against Malcolm Gordon. He's like a minus 1,000 favorite. And it was obviously wasn't, he was actually minus 1,400 in that one. So the line was way wider than it looked when you're watching the fight. He might be a minus 300, minus 400 against Gordon, but minus 1,400 is just insane. You look at these lines, he's always going to be a big favorite until he loses. And this Jafel Filho guy, he's dangerous everywhere the fight goes. So, yeah, I mean, it might even be worth a sprinkle on Filho. I'm not saying he's going to win, but, you're getting plus 688 on a guy just to win. Like,
yeah,
I could see a world where Filho opposes some kind of threat, and Mokaev kind of feels that, and he's like, shit, I need to just control this guy for the next couple rounds and win the rounds because I wasn't prepared for this. And like you said, coming in with a possible injury, I don't really like that either. I think he wants to be that youngest champion, so he's kind of like rushing these fights, and he's just kind of taking a fight, and maybe that's why he's fighting with this possible injury. So he wants to get those fights in so he can get a title shot before he gets too old, so that he's not the youngest champion. I think it's gonna backfire on him eventually. Maybe not this time, but yeah, he should win. I mean, he's the better mixed martial artist. Just comes down to if he's focused enough and if he's ready enough.
Yeah.
So I'll take him for the pick.